let's start from the top line. Line A is in alpha. We start with base rental revenue, which is also referred to as potential rental revenue or gross potential rent, which is abbreviated as GPR. And this is going to be the rent from the in-place leases, and for vacant spaces this will be the market rent assumption. As a deduction to the base rental revenue, we will have absorption and turnover vacancy, and this is going to be adjustments for lost market rents due to tenant move-outs and downtime for the releasing and reoccupying and rent commencement of a new tenant in a space. The framework for operating line item projections can be reduced to three basic elements: a base value, which is the output that's being measured, such as the rent; the growth factor that's being applied to that base value, and this is typically going to be a compounding of a growth rate over multiple periods; and what we like to call start and stop timing triggers, which are going to determine when the data series will start and when it will end. On a little bit of a more nuanced basis, there are really a couple of additional elements which are shown in blue, and we call these the periodic adjustment and the distribution adjustment. Okay, we've zoomed out here on the Office Exercise tab because I want you to see the whole of what we'll be working in before we start to get down into the individual line items. So what we have here is a 10-year annual projection, annual base projection, where each column represents 1 year. And every line that is blanked is a line that you will be in charge of filling in and creating the formula for that line. We do provide guidance here for the projection formula for each of those line items. For instance, for the rent for Suite 100 here, we say this is going to be the prior year's rent amount grown by the assumed rate. And the assumed rate in this case is shown here in the blue font, 3% annually. I've flipped over now to the Office Solution tab, where we can see everything is filled in for you, and you can check your work against the Solution tab naturally in real time at any point. And what we're showing here are calculation-based values, and then also inputs that are $0 inputs, as well as inputs that are non-zero inputs. Everything that's in blue is a value that you will have already input into the Exercise tab, and everything that is not blue is going to be the product of your work, working in the Exercise tab and then checking that work against the solution. When all is said and done, you should be able to match your operating cash flow line item projection to this solution and have the exact same results. Here on the Acquisition Screening Analysis tab, what we're showing here is the skeleton of the integration of NOI that's coming from the projection that you have already created, with the elements of purchase and sale and debt and equity. And everything that's shaded in blue is something that you will be in charge of filling out. And this is going to go all the way down on an annual projection basis through unlevered cash flow and an unlevered IRR, showing next a debt schedule and getting us to a levered cash flow and equity multiple and a levered IRR. And then we have sensitivity tables that you will build out, pre-formatted, and lastly a levered summary. And all of this is matching to the Screening Analysis Solution tab, which is completely filled out and against which you can check your work in real